Alright, I'm going to do a little review of a book recently read, Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. He also wrote 100 Years of Solitude, which I have read as well. Also, I'm going to do a review of Aguardiente. Am I saying that correctly? Aguardiente. I have barely tried this before. I think I was drunk at a friend's house and I think I tried a sip of it. I don't remember much. So both products of Colombia. Aguardiente is made from anise, I think. I'm not even sure exactly what that is. It's referenced a lot in this book, actually. Not specifically aguardiente, but anise or anisette. I think it's a very similar spirit. But aguardiente is mentioned as well in this book. As far as I know, this is one of the most common drinks in Colombia. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to start with the drink, and I guess I'll talk about the book as well. So yeah, like I was saying, this author, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, also wrote 100 Years of Solitude. And he is known for... What the hell is the opening on this? He's known for kind of birthing the genre magical realism, which is very, very evident in 100 Years of Solitude. I mean, in parts of that book, there's just supernatural events that are part of the plot that make no sense at all. But the rest of the book is very... I cannot figure out how to open this. Maybe I just twist it. But the rest of the book is very real. Yeah, you just twist it. That's weird. Is very realistic. Oh man, what is going on? Smell a little bit. It smells like licorice. I'll see if this will just pour, maybe. Come on. Oh, there we go. This is 29% alcohol, which, oh man. It's a Tuesday night. I'm not trying to get drunk, just sip this. Yeah, so 29% alcohol. It's actually pretty nice for sipping. I think that's generally how it's drank or drunk, is just sipping on the limited research I've done. But yeah, 29% is not too bad. If you sip bourbon, it's usually 40%. Where was I? Magical realism. Yeah, so 100 Years of Solitude. I really enjoyed that book a lot. I mean, there were parts of it that I thought dragged a little bit. And it's notorious for its character naming, which is extremely confusing. I think that sort of adds to the chaotic beauty of that book. So maybe I'll review that book at another time. But what I wanted to say basically is that book is definitely a magical realism book. This book, I would say not so much. I haven't looked at like other reviews or analyses of Love in the Time of Cholera, but there's definitely that same style of stating something, I guess metaphorically, as fact. But in this book, it's much more. It seems to me that it's a metaphor. It doesn't really like involve a change in the plot. I guess a quick example would be like in 100 Years of Solitude. There's literally a part where a girl just floats up to heaven, and then she's gone from the rest of the book. She's gone. In this book, there's very few, if any, phrases or sentences or statements that couldn't just be chalked up to being a metaphor. So, yeah, this book's not as magical realist in my eyes. It's very romantic in the positive sense, and wow, it smells like I've tasted something just like this before. This smells like that stuff that Vincent van Gogh, everyone thinks he tripped on. It's green, the fairy. It'll come to me if I forget about it for a minute. It's so annoying. It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, what did I think about this book? I enjoyed it for the most part. It also dragged a little bit for me. I think it's just his writing style. It's very it's a little bit, it's hard to call it dry because it's very, very rich in just all the events that happen. It's just crazy, and it's full of life, and very awful things happen too, but it's interesting. The whole thing is just, it's riveting. But maybe his style of, how should I say, just like going on and on, very chronological almost, although he jumps around a little bit. Not everything is relevant to, the big picture, but will I read it again? Probably later in life. It's not something I'm itching to get right back into unless I start researching this book and there's just a whole thing that I missed. Yeah, I think I could see myself reading this book again, especially as I'm older, because a lot of the themes in this book, are about old age. Also, I think it'd be better to read it in the summertime, because I read this in December in New England, and it just wasn't fitting. I kind of like my reading to match the time of year, so summertime, or maybe if I ever traveled to Colombia, I could read this again. But yeah, it's a love story about two teenagers who kind of have this long distance letter trading going back and forth, and I kind of don't understand why eventually the woman, Fermina Daza, kind of rejects him. They meet in real life, and it kind of just all falls apart for her. I don't think there's anything that really happens. She just kind of realized that the passion wasn't there on her side. And eventually she gets married with this other doctor. I'm not going to explain the whole plot, but ultimately 50 years later, the original couple, after the doctor, her husband dies, they reunite and start trading letters again. And most of the book is about kind of this character, Florentino Ariza. I'm probably pronouncing these names awfully. Just the life he lives during these 50 years when they're not together. He's kind of stalking her mildly, but he's also having relationships with much older women, at one point much younger. There's kind of a definitely flawed morality going on with the main character, Florentino Ariza. He does some very questionable things that makes it, in my opinion, hard to really root for him wholeheartedly, especially towards the very end of the book. But he's very much an interesting character to follow. I would say more so than Fermina Daza. One thing I kind of didn't like about this book was the length of the chapters. I think the shortest chapter was like 50 pages, and I think the last chapter is 75, so I kind of had to stop in the middle of a chapter at some points, which I don't really like doing. My favorite are really, really short chapters, and I can just read as many as I want and always come to a good stopping point. So just one thing. This music's a little bit loud. I haven't even tried my anisette or aguardiente. Yeah, so aguardiente, guess what it means? I don't speak Spanish at all, pretty much, but I guessed that it meant teeth water, dient, tooth water. And my friend was like, yeah, you got it. Very, very a little bit sweet. Yeah, it's a strong licorice smell. It smells just like I can't think of it. You put a sugar cube and you pour it over the sugar cube. Oh, it is so annoying. I can't think of it. It smells just like it. Almost like Jägermeister a little bit, but not really. Much more of I might have to Google this real fast. But anyway, this does not mean tooth water. It means fire water, I guess. Ardiente. So aguardiente. Not sure if I'm saying that right, but spirit distilled from cane with natural anise flavor. There was another one, a blue one that said sin azúcar, which I know means without sugar. And I just figured this might be the original. So I figured I'd go with the original. Maybe you get more of the anise flavored from the sin azúcar one. I'm just gonna type green fairy drink because absinthe. Jesus, absinthe. What is it made from? Wow, anise flavored spirit. Maybe anise and licorice are the same thing. Absinthe is a distilled anise flavored spirit. Traditionally, the spirit is green from the inclusion of green anise. And this is where the nickname La Fée Verte, or the Green Fairy, comes from. But this isn't green. This is absolutely transparent, clear, diaphanous. That word comes up a lot in this book, diaphanous. As well as a lot of other words that are repeated a lot. I feel like the word almond is mentioned like 25 or 30 times in this book. But yeah, diaphanous, that interested me. I had to put it into a dictionary. I think it means transparent and see-through. But it interests me because obviously this book was written in Spanish, and I wonder if that's the word he would have chosen if he wrote it in English. I imagine whatever word it's being translated from, he repeated that in Spanish many times, but would he have used diaphanous? You know, it's not a word that I often come across in English literature or any other translated works. I'm sure I've seen it before, but clearly I wasn't as familiar with it enough because I had to translate it. Not translate it, but look up the definition. Anyway, I'm rambling. I like this book. I didn't love it. I'll be honest, I didn't love it. I preferred 100 Years of Solitude. I think it enraptured me a little bit more, especially towards the end. I just think there was more chaos going on. This book's just a little bit slow. It's very romantic. It's very lovey-dovey at parts. He's a great prose writer. It's very, what's the word? Bittersweet, maybe? I could definitely drink this drink. I could definitely sip it. It's not strong at all. Yeah, it tastes a lot like absinthe. Maybe a little less sugary, which I like. I don't really like drinks that are super, super strong. Okay. that's probably it for this one. I might not read another Gabriel Garcia Marquez book for a while, unless I hear about one that I absolutely must read, or if I read some of his short stories that kind of get me up for a novel, just because, like I said, I didn't love this, you know. There were parts that kind of dragged. But if you really liked 100 Years of Solitude, the writing style is pretty similar. There's a lot less magical realism, and I think overall the story is just less electric. It's a little more dull. It's a little bit more romantic and passionate, but still pretty crazy. Some pretty crazy shit goes down, and some pretty alarming things. Anyway, I think I like the drink better than the book. Well, I'm gonna finish my drink. Hasta la vista. Oh God, that was cringy.